It's July 17th, 2017, and this is the K-12 Engineering Education Podcast. I'm your host, Pios. I met today's guest first at South by Southwest here in Austin a few months ago, and today I'm speaking with him. It's Beau Trifiro, mechanical engineer, skateboarder, and founder of Open Source Boards, a provider of an educational curriculum where kids design, analyze, and build their own skateboards.
My name's Beau Trifiro. I'm an engineer, a skateboarder, and I run a company called Open Source Skateboards.
Cool, thank you. And what is Open Source Skateboards?
So Open Source Skateboards it's a combination of a skateboard company and an educational program. So without getting into too much detail right off the bat, basically we make skateboards for people that have open source designs and custom boards, as well as teach skateboard building in schools to promote engineering and creative education.
Can you tell me about the design side? It sounds like you build other people's designs. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah. So we're kind of unique in that anyone can basically come to us with any shape they want, and we will fabricate it for them. So on our website, we have a CAD, a 3D modeling tool where you can go on and design your own board, and we can work with you to make your own shape at a fairly reasonable price, not an outrageous price.
Is that pretty popular where you're at?
It's still relatively young, and I really don't do much marketing, but it has been pretty popular among more advanced skaters, which is kind of who we initially were targeting. If you have a specific shape you're looking for and no one out there can make it, that's basically what we fill a really small niche, I guess you could say.
And so talk to me a little bit about the educational side, because there are probably some educators listening who are curious about that.
Yeah, so the educational side is we provide the kit and curriculum and lesson plans for running a custom skateboard design build program. Basically, these are usually run as summer camps or after school programs. And I've run several of them here in San Diego. I've even helped out at some that were a little bit further away. I've gone all the way to Kentucky, actually, to teach one.
Oh, wow.
And basically, what it is it's I recommend like a minimum of 16 hours for the program. That's why it's usually good as like a summer camp or after school program. Mm-hmm. And students go through the entire design and build of a totally custom skateboard deck from scratch. So they start with a concept. They learn a little bit about skateboards, the different types and how they're used. They sketch their idea and then take their idea all the way through design to fabrication. And by the end of the class, they have a professional grade skateboard deck that they can ride and really have fun with. And for finding out more about it, on our website is where we kind of have more information. We're on Facebook and Instagram. You can see like little clips of classes and stuff that we run here and there. But the best way really is to, get in contact with us directly through our website, just to kind of let us know what specifically you're working for and how we can basically set you up for what you want to do at your school.
Okay. Yeah. And I'll put the information, all that contact information in the show notes too, in case anyone needs it. And just related to that education piece, do kids respond well to that if they're designing and building their own stuff, or do they find it hard or difficult?
Yeah, I think, well, every student's different. I've done quite a few of these classes now, and I've seen a huge variety of responses from the students. But overall, it's been very positive. The students really seem to like and being able to take ownership and really design something from scratch. And the areas where it gets tough, that's where we kind of step in, the instructor, as a guide, and we can kind of point them in directions at time. But the idea is to kind of know, to show students that there isn't always like a right answer. This is really an open-ended project, and the students can personalize it however they want. So at the same time that they're learning and using all these engineering tools and applied mathematics to actually design and make their board, they're also getting to put their own little custom twist on it. I think the key thing with it is it's something that kids really can relate to, and it's an end product that they want to use and they want to have fun with.
Yeah, I imagine. And it sounds like you have some personal experience with this, that you've been teaching it or you've worked with teachers. How did you develop this whole educational side of the business?
Yeah, so that's a great question. When I moved out to California about 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago now, and I started making skateboards when I came out here, and through the process of designing and building my own boards, I realized how much of my engineering background I was actually using to make these boards.
Because you're a mechanical engineer.
Yes, I'm a mechanical engineer. Yep, that's my background, and that's what I currently do full time. And yeah, so I was designing and building these boards, and I was talking to some people and like, oh, you should teach a skateboard building class. So I approached some maker spaces and tried to set some classes up there. And I actually wasn't able to get those going right off the bat, but I ended up teaching a 3D printing class over the summer at a middle school. That really gave me a better feel for what it's like to be a teacher and instructor and work with kids, because I really didn't have experience with that before, aside from just tutoring. Mm-hmm. And from there, I got into a school as a semester-long elective. It was a 1-day-a-week elective where it was basically a pilot class where it was my first time doing this entire thing. And I also simultaneously had gotten an after-school program set up with a school in San Diego. So I was in these two schools, and it was just great to see these kids really excited and engaged with building and getting their hands on, and throwing in every here and there like something that they learned in school that maybe didn't have an application to them before, but could now be shown in the context of something that they understand and can relate to.
Do you think that certain types of kids respond best to this, like different age groups, or what have you found?
So I've worked primarily with high school and middle schoolers. It's really great for both those age groups because we could kind of tailor it differently for each one. Like with the middle schoolers, it doesn't have to be as complex. It's much more about just, having fun and building. And with the high schoolers, that's where we could start working in some of the math that, involves trigonometry and algebra. And the great thing is, even the middle schoolers that I've worked with have been able to pick up the computer-aided design tools that we use in the class.
Cool.
So they're getting exposed to that at a really young age, and are able to work through it.
I was thinking as you were telling me about the program that if I were the one doing this, I could imagine myself screwing up the math or screwing up the design very quickly. So I don't know, when you're dealing with kids, I'm assuming that these kids are sometimes maybe making mistakes or designing something that doesn't work quite how they expect. What do you do to help kids get over that? Or does that even happen? Yeah,
so mistakes are definitely part of the learning process, but the way I kind of handle this is I try and guide students, because this is a really great question, actually. I never been asked this before, but I try and guide students towards not making a critical mistake, which would be something that would just ruin the project, something they can't recover from. Uh-huh. But those are very, very rare. One of the things I like to cover in the class is if a student makes a mistake, how we then go to fix those mistakes. Because that was something that I know in a lot of my education, I didn't really get exposed to that. It was kind of like you have one shot to do this, and if you don't get it right the first time, you're either going to get a bad grade, or you don't get a second kit of materials,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it, and you're done. But no one really said, oh, well, there's ways to fix it. You can go back and you can figure out how to make it work. So, like, for example, drilling the holes is one of the trickier parts of the process. Drilling the holes where the trucks, which are like the axles of the skateboard, mount onto the wooden part, which is the deck, which is what we're making in these programs.
Mm-hmm.
So if these holes aren't perfectly aligned, you won't be able to fit the trucks on, because the trucks are metal. They have a very specific bolt pattern. And if your holes in the wood are off, it won't fit. So in a couple of instances where this does happen with students, again, I try and I show them the tools to use to properly make the holes. But every so often, it's not perfect, and we learn how to fix that. So if the holes are way, way off, we use wood filler. We can just patch those holes, re-drill new holes, and then when the student paints it at the end of the class or puts their artwork on it, it's covered up, and you don't really even notice that the mistake was made at all, and the board works totally fine. And in other situations, we might just widen that hole a little bit. Like, there's little tricks we can do here and there. But I also think, so before I go on to that, so the main idea there is, everyone will finish with a board that is writable, and that's good, and that's going to work. Mm-hmm. But I don't think mistakes should really be looked down upon as part of the process, because those are the best learning experiences. Because when you're really caring about something that you're doing, and you make a mistake, you can recover from it. We help you recover from it. And then you also, that kind of sticks with you emotionally, when you have ownership of a project like this. So you kind of know, okay, this is why a template or a jig is really important when I'm fabricating parts.
Right. So they get to iterate on their designs a little bit, and it sounds like they'll really remember the mistake they made and learn from it, basically.
Yeah. But like I said, it's actually not that common. We have a very, like I've been doing this class so much, and I have it all kind of documented now. So we have, like, very specific lesson plans that we kind of follow and go through, and checks that we'll make to make sure that nothing really goes wrong, which is nice.
Yeah, when we were talking in person, I remember you showed me this big stack of papers that was, I believe, your curriculum, right? So teachers whose classrooms you get, or schools who you get involved with, I guess they would have access to all that material?
Yes, yeah, definitely. And basically what it is, it's all the information that we have, and a lot of what our information is available on our website for free, and we have YouTube videos and all that. What I did with this is just consolidated it into a package for teachers, so that when a teacher gets a kit from us, they get this digital package as well. And it includes the lesson plans with, like, time estimates of how long things will take, checklists, handouts for students. Basically, it's meant for a teacher that really doesn't have any experience with skateboarding, and maybe just, minimal experience in science, math, technology areas. It's really meant to make it so that anyone could go out and be an instructor for this class. And the key thing about being an instructor for this class, and it's easy to forget that as an instructor too, is to kind of not be an instructor in a more traditional sense. So yeah, this is really about the students kind of learning on their own as well, and the instructor being a guide. So it's really tempting for me, with my experience in engineering and skateboard building, to tell the students exactly what to do all the time, or always try and correct them. But I don't think that that's really the best way to run a program like this. Mm-hmm. I think, because I have instructions on how to avoid and fix mistakes and things like that, it's a really great experience for students to learn how to learn on their own and go through a design build project on their own that's open-ended like this.
That's super interesting to me that you say that. clearly, because you're a mechanical engineer, you have the background in materials and tolerances and CAD and all that stuff, but you also speak like you have learned a bit about education. Cause what you're saying basically is what education researchers say, that you got to teach kids how to teach themselves in a way. Did you have guidance on that, or is that just something you picked up while doing all this?
No, I've definitely had some pretty amazing mentors along the way. Where I got most of my educational training from was a makerspace here in San Diego called Fab Labs San Diego, which is just an incredible community there. And really that's helped me so much from an educational standpoint.
Awesome. And yeah, can you tell me just a little bit more about your background? I know you're a mechanical engineer, but why did you even get into mechanical engineering?
Yeah, so I got into mechanical engineering. I remember looking at colleges and high school and trying to figure out what to do, really.
As many of us do, yeah.
Yeah, I was just like interested in so many different things. I really wanted to be creative. I wanted to do something that was really useful, that there was a demand for. And after looking at all these different directions I can go, I decided mechanical engineering seemed like the broadest area where I can really be creative, utilize some of my strengths in the maths and sciences, and have a fairly secure job in the future. So that's really why I went to the mechanical engineering route. My desire to kind of be creative. I wanted to learn how to make things, really.
So did you know what mechanical engineering was when you were a kid?
Not too much. I knew my uncle was a mechanical engineer, and I think I took like a career test in like middle school, actually, that mechanical engineering was like something I got, which I don't think I realized that until after I ended up applying to schools and stuff that occurred to me. But yeah, I really didn't know. It was just I was on one of those like college prep sites and just reading descriptions on what different majors do. And mechanical engineering looked really interesting.
No, that's good to know, because oftentimes I hear from teachers and engineers that their kids or they themselves, when they were a kid, just did not know what mechanical engineering or what any other fields of engineering were. So I think that's neat that you had some idea of it.
A very vague idea.
Right. Was there anything that you wish you had like learned earlier then about the field?
I don't think so. I don't regret doing mechanical engineering at all. I just really like that it's kind of like the broadest of all the disciplines, because it really exposed me to, there's a little bit of electrical engineering you get into, a little bit of civil, a little bit of, biomechanical and software. It's really nice to be able to do that. And as someone that was really looking to, I guess, get out of college, was maximizing my ability to be creative and learning new tools. I really like that I got that mix of mechanical, electrical, software, structural, all that in the mechanical engineering curriculum.
And what would you say to other professional engineers like you who maybe are interested in kind of giving back to the education world? Are there any tips you could give them?
Oh yeah, definitely get involved or try and see if there's any maker spaces in your area. I really like these. If you're not familiar with a makerspace, are you familiar with what they are?
Yeah, no, I am. There's plenty in Austin.
Yeah, so if anyone is listening that doesn't know what they are, they're basically, imagine a gym but for engineers in a way. So, and it's not just engineers, I shouldn't say that, but basically
people who like making stuff.
Yeah, being creative, artists, teachers. The community at our makerspaces is really broad and varied. But it's basically like, imagine a warehouse filled with a bunch of tools, like laser cutters, CNC machines, 3D printers, electrical stations, milling machines, And basically they're usually like they work on a rental basis. So like a gym where you'd sign up to be a member of a gym and get access to the gym equipment. A makerspace, you sign up to be a member and you get access to the maker equipment. And a lot of these makerspaces run classes, and a lot of engineers have very useful skills that, they do on a daily basis, that it's easy to forget that at one time you didn't know those skills or those things. But, just go teach like a CAD class or a soldering class, something like that. And it's really fun to get involved with the community and share your knowledge and skills.
Cool. That's a good tip. And I think we're almost out of time here. So I'm just going to say, anything else that teachers or engineers or anyone should know about open source skateboards, or anything else you're doing?
I'd say just check out the website and the Facebook page, Instagram page, and get in touch if you have any questions. Try and be pretty accessible. And I try to be as responsive as possible, but feel free to get in touch. I look forward to hearing from you guys.
Right. Yes, with the millions of listeners that are not on here. But no, this was Beau Trifiro, and you are the founder, right, of Open Source Boards?
Yep.
Yeah, and check them out.
Cool, thank you.
Thanks to Beau Trifiro for joining me today. For links to some of what came up in conversation, check out this episode's show notes. Please let me know what you thought about the show. Message the show on Twitter at K12 Engineering, or message me at Pios Wong. Review the show on iTunes, follow it on Facebook, and donate to the show on my Patreon if you can. Find the details at my podcast website, k12engineering.net. Our closing music is from Late for School by Bleep Tour under a Creative Commons Attribution license. The K12 Engineering Education Podcast is a production of my independent studio, Pios Labs, and you can support Pios Labs at www.patreon.com/Pios Labs. Don't forget, if you're a drone lover or a drone enthusiast, you should try to enter our drone photo contest. All the details are at this episode's show notes. You can also enter the drone raffle. And again, the details are in this episode's show notes, and I spoke all about it in the previous episode. And now I also have a message with Rachel. Hi there, Rachel.
Hi, Pius. I'm glad to be back.
We meet again, and we just attended an event here in Austin, Texas.
Yes.
What was it like?
It was a meetup, and it was fun. It was more fun than I thought.
It was for South by Southwest.
It was for South by EDU, to be specific. Yes, it was networking and sort of getting to know other possible collaborators and maybe competitors. Not really competitors. Presenters, colleagues.
We're getting ideas.
Yes.
I thought it was cool. I thought I saw a bunch of people who I had met before and other people I didn't meet who I just met for the first time.
Sure. Yeah, there were a few people there from previous things that I had done outside of South by and outside of work, and then there were former colleagues. There were people who have been with South by for a while. Yeah, it was a good mix.
It was cool. And now here we are sitting in front of a food truck here in Austin, doing very Austin, Texas-like things.
Can we say their name or no?
Yeah, sure, why not?
It's Bistro Vonish.
Yeah, and they specialize in elevated vegan cuisine, and they're across the truck from Bananarchy, the frozen banana dessert truck, which is also cool.
Both of which are on 53rd. Check them out.
No one has paid us for this, but
no, that is completely, that's just us.
What I am pitching here, though, is that this is a very Austin night because we're planning on applying to the Austin-based South by Southwest Festival.
Yes, we are.
We decided for sure, right?
Yes, we are applying. We have preliminarily filled out all the forms. We've written our bios.
What's the preview for listeners? What are we applying, or what's our session title?
We are looking at podcasting as an educational platform and all of the associated learning and collaboration that can go with that.
Like let's say you're a teacher and you want to teach your kids by showing them like a podcast about science or something. Maybe you might listen to the Tumble podcast.
Yep. And there are podcasts that you can use in the classroom. You can learn about the actual technicalities of a podcast and teach your kids. Like if you're an AV teacher or a CTE teacher.
Yes.
Yeah.
English teacher, there's
yes.
a lot of writing,
Scripting.
editing.
Yeah.
Acting, drama.
The drama. It's all the drama.
The music. Anyway.
Ooh,
and
that would be a great time.
What if you're a podcaster? What if you're a podcaster who's interested in education? Is that unthinkable?
No, it is not unthinkable. And there are some educational podcasts, and there are podcasts that delve into, like for example, the K-12 engineering education podcast. But there are also podcasters who may want to do outreach or get more information about how their podcast could be applicable or relevant to educators or to students or to administrators.
I would love to have other people in the podcasting world to guest on this show too. Let's say you're a principal, or you're a business person, or you're a lawmaker, or you're a student who has opinions about all this stuff.
Yes. Having students work with legislators on a podcast.
We can do everything.
That's amazing right there.
That's bananarchy.
that ish is bananas.
It's a plug for this food truck that I'm looking at in back of Rachel here.
That they are not paying us to do. We're just being silly.
Yeah. In any case, I just want to say, keep an eye out for our session on podcasting for education. Vote for us.
Vote for us. It'll be on Panel Picker if you follow or if you get updates from South by or from South by EDU. You should be receiving emails about all of those dates coming up soon.
Yeah, and you can always find the links on the website, k12engineering.net. Anyway, thanks for joining me, Rachel. I think we're ready for some food.
Yes, I'm hungry.